Welcome to Vacuum Wars and to our coverage of CES 2024 in Las Vegas. The Consumer Electronics Show is a trade show which showcases the latest technology from all kinds of industries, and 2024 was bigger than ever. In this video, I'll be focusing on what was new in 2024 for the vacuum, robot vacuum, and floor care industry in general. So, links in the description to everything I'll mention, and let's get started. Roborock was one of the biggest stories this year. They introduced a ton of new features for their robot vacuum lineup. Their new flagship robot vacuum is the Roborock S8 Max V Ultra. Some of the notable hardware upgrades include the Reactive AI 2.0 obstacle avoidance system. Basically, they went back to incorporating cameras for the front-mounted obstacle avoidance, which I think is an upgrade for obstacle avoidance performance, but it also enables some really innovative features, which we'll talk about later. They also added a camera to the new Q Revo Max V. That being said, they also released versions of both the S8 and the Q Revo that do not have cameras for the more security-conscious consumer. One new hardware feature is their Flexi Arm Side Brush, which extends to clean corners. This is a first as far as I've seen in the robot vacuum world, and Roborock claims that they can now achieve 100% corner coverage. They also have the new Extra Edge mopping system, which is a little mop pad mounted on the same side as the side brush and mops all the way to the wall. It rotates at 185 RPMs, and though we've started to see mop pads like this extending this year, this is the first version I've seen for a fixed pad system like this. Its mop pad still lifts up when it detects carpets, but it has some notable differences from the previous version. It now lifts up 20 millimeters, almost double the height of the previous S8, but there's also a new software upgrade that seems so simple that I'm surprised it hasn't been thought of yet. Basically, in the app, you can choose for it to start every run by vacuuming the carpets first, and then it goes back to the dock to moisten the pads, and then it mops the hard floors. So it would dramatically reduce the chances of the carpets getting touched by a wet pad in the first place. There's also an S8 Max V variant which can be hooked up to clean water lines and to drainage lines so you don't ever have to empty or fill the water tanks again. They demoed theirs integrated into a sink cabinet, but as we'll see later, these could also be integrated into washer and dryers or just given direct plumbing. Its Ultra Dock still automatically washes the robot's mop pads with hot water and dries the mop pads with hot air and refills the robot's mop tank, but it can now dispense detergent for mopping as well, and it has a new sensor that visually detects how dirty the mop pad water is to make washing the pad more efficient. There's a lot of new software-related features, most of which are made possible by the new camera-based system. For example, it has a host of new pet-related software features. One interesting trend here was the ability to visually tell if the hard floors need additional mopping, which, as we'll see later, other manufacturers started doing this year as well. Roborock also announced their new hard floor cleaner, the Flexi Pro and Flexi Lite. This is a high-end vacuum mop combo. It has automated suction and water adjustment features. It can wash and dry the mop pads, but its main thing is that it can be laid flat, hence the name Flexi. Roborock has scheduled release of its new robot vacuum line for April of 2024, and no date on the Flexi Pro yet. Ecovacs was another large robot vacuum manufacturer at CES this year. On the robot vacuum side, their new announcement was the D-Bot X2 Combo, which is essentially an upgraded version of its predecessor, combined with a handheld stick vacuum integrated into the base station for dual dust collection, recharging, mop water, and mop pad cleaning and drying. The idea, of course, is to provide an all-in-one experience, but Ecovacs also seemed to be expanding into new areas. They released a robotic lawnmower, which is definitely a trend that exploded this year, as we'll see. Theirs is called the Goat GX lawnmower. They also expanded into air purification with their AirBot Z2, which is an air purifier that moves around the home systematically, which is actually a pretty good idea. They also presented their new robot window washer, the W2 Omni, which has an industry-first edge cleaning mode, 3 nozzle-wide angle spray atomization technology, intelligent climbing system, and a 30% efficiency boost with the WindSlam 4.0 intelligent planning. Eureka was a pleasant surprise at CES 2024. They had a wide-ranging lineup, everything from corded vacuums, cordless, as well as their new robot vacuum lineup, all of which showed some really innovative advancements. They announced their J20 robot vacuum, which is a full-on premium robot vacuum with all the main features you would see from their premium competitors, but with a totally new mopping system based on a rolling mop pad, which could be a game changer with scrubbing ability. It looks like Eureka has big plans for robot vacuums too. They announced a new AI system that will allow you to talk to the robot vacuum in plain language. Like Roborock, they also had a version of the robot vacuum which had clean and dirty water plumbing connections on the back. They had theirs connected to a washer and dryer system. Interestingly, they said that because the life cycle of a robot vacuum would be less time than a washer and dryer, they made the module so that you could remove the robot vacuum and replace it with an updated version. They also had on display their new E10 robot vacuum line, which fills an interesting gap in the market for high-quality LiDAR-based robots in a mid-level price range. The E10's selling point is that it's one of the few bagless auto-empty bin systems on the market. Eureka also demoed a product called the Omniverse, which is an upright corded vacuum which has what they call quick shift technology, where you can adjust the position of the canister for ergonomics or to get under furniture. It also has a lift-away mode, it has anti-tangle technology on the roller, and a complete seal filtration system. Moving on to Narwal, which I was also really impressed with, they announced their new flagship robot vacuum, the Frio X Ultra, which is a LiDAR-based unit with a unique tri-laser feature integrated into their structured light obstacle avoidance system. The Frio X Ultra has a full-featured auto-dock system that, among many other things, washes its two spinning pads, which are triangular shaped and staggered to be more efficient and longer lasting, which I thought was a cool idea. Anti-tangle rollers on robot vacuums were a big trend this year, but I think Narwal had one of the more elegant solutions of all of them. They used a conical shaped brush, kind of like Dyson's hair screw tool. They have a unique dust empty system which compresses the dust and hair into a disposable dustbin instead of the auto dock, which is much quieter than other systems. They also have a system to see how dirty the mop water is in order to determine if more mopping runs are needed. Narwal also has a vacuum mop combo they call the S10 Pro, which is lie-down friendly and lighter than average. The Frio X Ultra is scheduled for release later this year. Dreame was at CES, and they announced, among other things, their DreameBot X30 Ultra robot vacuum. They say that the X30 Ultra has higher suction power than their previous flagship at 8,300 pascals. The X30 Ultra also has Dreame's anti-tangle tri-cut brush designed to cut and remove tangled hair from its brushes. Dreame also announced a new robotic lawnmower, which looks interesting. They also had a pretty big lineup of both wet-dry vacuums and cordless vacuums using things like removable battery and motor technology that we'll see some of the other companies are also starting to use. Tineco also had a great booth at CES. Some of their big announcements were the Floor One Switch S7, which combines the functions of a vacuum and floor washer. It features the Switch Pro motor, allowing it to transition between vacuuming and floor washing modes. Basically, you can switch out the battery and motor for each machine type. They also presented their Pure One Station, which is an all-in-one cordless vacuum system with their Omni Hub, which serves as a storage and recharging unit and is designed to automatically clean the entire machine, including the brush, the wand, the filters, which is the first time I've seen anything like that claims to clean the entire vacuum. It also holds up to 60 days worth of debris, and it appears to be bagless, which is interesting. Samsung had an absolutely massive presence at CES. They announced their new robot vacuum, the Bespoke Jet Bot combo, which I think is the first robot vacuum mop combo from Samsung. It's also one of the first robot vacuums, if not the first, to use steam as a part of the self-cleaning process. So yeah, it's a full-on premium robot vacuum with all the features you would expect from a top-of-the-line product. One of Samsung's advantages historically has been their camera and chips, and their AI object recognition as a result has been one of the best. They also have a feature in which it can visually recognize stains on hard floors to determine how much more mopping would be needed. One of the more interesting booths was from the 3i Company, which I had not heard of before. They were presenting a LiDAR-based robot vacuum with an auto-empty dock that they claimed could recycle water. It was a huge bin, and they also had a version that I suppose is meant for the luxury-oriented customer. So the model is the H1 Pro, and it has a water recycling system which purifies its wastewater, transforms that into distilled water. It can also extract moisture from the surrounding air, so not only do you not have to add water, you don't have to empty the wastewater. It's a pretty interesting idea if it works, even if the bin is super big. Check out the links in the description to everything I mentioned, and be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you leave to keep up with all the latest news and information in the vacuum world. Thanks for watching.